I love plants and nature and gardens. And I love planting things and being in nature and gardening. But I don't actually know that much about plants and nature and gardening. It's one of those areas where I have extremely lofty goals and absolutely no pillars to hold them up. I've talked some about the grand plans I have for the land that I've been given to work with around this house. I started with this whole idea to redo the entire front yard into a haven of raised beds and fruit trees and everything in between. I even hired this really great company that specializes in edible gardening and landscaping to do an initial plan and a budget and all that stuff. And turns out my very lofty goals had a very lofty price tag of about $80,000. So I turned my attention to the backyard, which has significantly less free space for gardens and gardening due to the presence of a massive round pool, which, let's be honest, it's not something we wanted. Pools are expensive to maintain, y'all. But this house came with the refrigerator, the washer, and the pool. So what you gonna do? Even with just this weird curved area of dirt on one side and then a little rectangle of dirt on the other side, I got super overwhelmed by, again, lofty goals with no experience to back it up. I've done almost nothing. In any other area, in any craft or making form that I do, my advice in this situation would be, hey, if you are overwhelmed by how big your dreams are, then take a few steps back. Find a handhold that is closer to you. Start small, because otherwise, you're never gonna start at all. So I am gonna take my own advice, but in the realm of gardening. We are starting with this one rectangle of dirt, which I'm hoping to turn into a herb garden with maybe a small fruit tree over here. This feels manageable. God, the sun is bright. Let's quickly take stock of where we've landed in the backyard with my light dabblings so far. We had these random yellow bushes back here that just weren't doing it for me. No blossoms, no produce. So I had those ripped out and the soil kind of mixed up and prepared for planting with the idea that I'd be going for it real soon. Only this was like the very end of summer, beginning of fall, which doesn't seem like ideal planting time even in the warm climate of Southern California. So we ended up putting in another tree. We now have mandarin and kumquat, a kiwi vine that promptly seemed to die and then magically revived. And then we added a little trellis at the front for passion fruit vines. Y'all, I bought 4 and they have already overtaken the trellis and are literally ripping it out of the ground. But that's a problem for future Charlie, cause it's not the square of dirt I'm focusing on today. The square of dirt in question, which is actually a rectangle, is where I dump whatever potted experiments I'm running at the moment, usually from food that has sprouted in the kitchen. We had some lovely butternut squash vines going, but those are long gone now. At this point, I've got a bucket full of mint, with a few garlic leek plants, I think they are, that I stuck in there after using most of them in a soup. Other than that, we've just got a bunch of weeds, cause it's been a while since we had all of this soil cleared and prepped. There's even a rose bush coming back from the dead. There's been a change of plans. We're going big. Fuck my advice. It has been less than 24 hours since I was all set, ready to go on my very manageable herb garden idea. But then I made the mistake of mentioning the problem that is the passion fruit vines over there. We did a slapdash job on the trellis and then went overboard on the plants, which is pretty much how gardening always goes for me. But I can't seem to leave this problem for future Charlie, especially because present Charlie has come up with a new idea and it utilizes my little rectangle of dirt over there. We're gonna build a pergola. Go big while at home is my new advice. Y'all, this is insane. I had a thesis, a very clear thesis for this video. Did you catch it? So clear! But the joy of making videos about projects that involve your real life, the home you live in, the yard you putter in, etc., is that sometimes the plans change and the thesis gets thrown out with the bathwater, and instead of making some simple little raised herb bed, you're building an 8x8 by 12 foot pergola.
Pretty close, my love.
Are you so happy with your stick?
So happy.
Yeah. What a sweet potato. But you know what? As we worked on this lovely structure, redwood, because cedar was so hard to find around here, and the very nice clerk at the lumberyard said redwood is basically the same in terms of long-lastingness, I realized that whole start small might legitimately be the advice I'd offer anyone experiencing overwhelm in the making sphere, but it's not exactly advice that I follow myself with fair frequency. I'm more of a muster your audacity, gird your loins, and dive in head first kind of person. Observe, the girding of the loins does not protect the skull from headfirst diving. This represents my absolute disregard for safety precautions that I am routinely called out for in the comments. I like to lay in the dirt. Honestly, it so often feels like two completely opposite chunks of wisdom can be true and helpful to different people at the same time, or even to the same person at different times.
Yay.
Sometimes starting small helps you get out of that frozen tundra that is overwhelmingly big ideas. Yay! Look how good we are! Oh my god!
It's perfect.
Other times, you just gotta plow straight into that tundra. In the end, whatever gets you going, gets you making, is what matters.
Oh, wow. Perfectly.
And let's be real, what got me going here is filming the intro to a video. That's a commitment to me, one that I rarely back out of. It helps me focus on a specific project because it takes that project from my to-do list of my ideas document and it moves it onto my schedule, my this is happening right now list. And that gets my brain churning, which means I end up finding all sorts of new ideas inside the original idea, or in this case more like next to it. Seriously, I've been musing on this passion fruit vine problem since the day we put it in. I already knew it would be a problem then. 4 was too many for that little trellis. I'm so happy that we found a solution now, especially since building a pergola here was on our to-do sometime in the future list anyway. Y'all, my audacity is through the roof. We built this. We can build anything. Seriously though, part of the plan for the whole front yard thing was a little short fence going around the entire yard, and the estimate for that alone was $16,000. For reasons, it wasn't an unfair estimate. But now that we have rented and used the auger, I'm like, we could totally do that by ourselves. It took Matt a little bit to get used to the auger and figure out how it works best, and then once he did that, he was like, this is fun, this is great. And then like 5 holes later, he was like, okay, I'm done with this. It does look extremely exhausting, which is why I did not try. This process was not entirely without mishap, of course, though none of the injurious kind. We did not get hurt at all, but we did order 12-foot beams, this kind, and then we put our posts in 13 feet apart from each other. Just totally did not remember to measure and check. But the posts were where we wanted them. So then we had this whole thing of like, are we gonna cut them in half and like try to do a weird joining thing in the middle here? And finally, we just went out and got the next size up, which was 16 foot. And used those. While we had the auger, we went ahead and replaced our mailbox as well. I can't show you that, of course. But this house came with a really bad mailbox, like spiders living in it. Our mail has fallen out of it before and been strewn down the street. It gets wet because it's not waterproof, so all of our tax documents this year were very soggy. But that's another thing we got an estimate for once, and I think it was $4,000 to like build like the nice little square stone ones, and we were like, yeah, that's not in the budget right now. So we just went and bought a simple one, dug a hole, stuck it in. Mailbox. I feel so powerful. Booty, 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 booty. Hey, guess what's on my list of things to take care of? But not in this video. He's so sleepy. Back to mishaps, though. The tree that I originally was gonna put in the square of dirt, now we thought, let's put it on the other side of the little concrete sidewalk there. So we started digging a hole, and then we hit a water line. It wasn't too bad, it wasn't a main water line, it was just for the irrigation system, but we did damage it, and it started leaking. So we immediately just texted our amazing gardener who takes care of the yard for us, and we're like, can you fix this? And he came over within the hour, and this is his handiwork. He even went ahead and dug us a hole for the upcoming tree, moved the pipes so that we could put the tree here. Amazing. Hi, baby. I'm feeling very audacious in the world of building things, still no audacity in the world of plumbing. Bring in a professional for that. So we strung all this wire over here, which the puppy already ran into last night when he picked up a stick and got real excited, because the passion vines are gonna go here, and I want something for them to grow up until they reach the top. That's the next step. We gotta transplant the passion vines, and then it's mainly like a whole bunch of planting. We'll see how much. Bring on the plants. But first, let's get hydrated, because this video is sponsored by Ultima Replenisher. I have never really been interested in electrolyte replenishing drinks or powders because so many of them are intended for people who do these intense workouts, and therefore they include a lot of sugar and sodium that those people need. I don't really need that. I'm not hitting the gym for 3 hours or running 12 miles. I'm just here living my rather sedentary lifestyle. Sometimes sitting at my desk for literally 10 hours a day. Sometimes digging a bunch of holes in the backyard and building a pergola. But I'm still losing electrolytes because we are all losing electrolytes all day, no matter what we're doing. And that's where Ultima Replenisher comes in. Not only is it replenishing the 6 key electrolytes that your body needs, but it's also doing that with 0 sugar, low sodium, and plant-based flavors and colors. Just add a pack to your water and shake it up. It's that easy. I really enjoy the mango dragon fruit green tea flavor. Ooh, it's so refreshing. Head to the link in the description below to stay hydrated with Ultima Replenisher and use my code TheStitchery20 at checkout for 20% off your order. A big thank you to Ultima Replenisher for sponsoring this video, and now, bring on the plants. March will be a lovely time to work on the yard and do some gardening, she said. It's March, by the way. I try not to do big outdoor projects or even renovations inside during the summer because it's just too hot. But March is barely even spring, so it should have been a great time, right? Woohoo! Only we got a massive heat wave, and it's been like a solid 40 degrees every day we've been out here. Thankfully, the pergola area gets shaded by the house pretty quickly, so I've managed to avoid too much sunburn, but sweating, not so much. Oh well, a good sweat never killed anyone, I think. I actually don't know if that's true. I'm mostly concerned that this extra heat right now might not be very helpful when it comes to these poor passion fruit vines re-rooting and getting established and not like wilting and dying. Please don't die! We were as careful as possible, but this transplant process felt aggressive. Now comes my favorite part. It is time to go buy plants. I'm gonna buy so many plants. Well, the second I walk into a nursery, I immediately want all the plants. All of them! They're so pretty and lovely and good smelling. How are you supposed to decide? We did manage to decide, well, somewhat. Y'all, this car smells amazing. My favorite part of watching all this footage back and editing it down for the video is the puppy being just all over the place and up in everything. He's so curious and unhelpful in the most delightful way. Yeah, like these don't have like super powerful smell from a distance, but the smell is really nice inside. Since the hole was already nicely prepared for us, we started by planting the tree, which is Meyer lemon. I absolutely love Meyer lemons. If you've never had one, it's kind of the flavor of a lemon with a herbal fragrance mixed in, and it's so good. They're also really expensive in grocery stores, so I definitely want to grow them myself, and this little guy is a perfect size to start. It's already got so many blossoms and small lemons on it, so here's hoping we will dive right into a decent fruit output. Y'all, growing fruit in your backyard is so freaking cool! We also got a few flowers to line up next to it, just cuz. I've been so focused on edible gardening for the last several years, not having much interest in flowers, but now all of a sudden my brain is going, yes please, all the flowers. I think it's because I see the bees and the butterflies so much here, and I want way more of them, so I'm really thinking about pollinators now and not just food production for myself.
Are you so pretty?
Over in the passion fruit vine pergola area, we got an array of flowers and flowering bushes, and also 3 different kinds of basil. I don't know if planting basil in the ground is a good idea, but they're small plants and I like experimenting, so why not? I also got foxgloves, which I have always adored, so I'm thrilled to have some in my own garden now. Eee! I also wanted to plant some stuff over where we removed the passion fruit vines, since the ground was already broken up and ready to go. We started by mixing a whole bag of sand in with the soil. I don't know if this will help, but the plants that I'm putting over here all like sandy soil, so I figured it was worth a shot.
Hi.
Oh.
I don't think we're using that
I don't
anymore.
think I'm gonna use these pots anymore. We're going for a sort of mid-sized shrub bed, starting with these salvias that I already had in pots from last year. They've been dying, not doing well at all, and I was like, oh no, I wonder why. What could be causing this? Oh my god.
It's hot.
The heat radiating off of this poor plant. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Yeah, these pots literally burned my hands when I moved them over here, and when we got the plants out, they were radiating heat from the soil. Turns out, we were basically baking them in the sun, roots and all. So hopefully, I got them into the nice cool ground soon enough and they'll revive. All right, so we also have some upright rosemary, Tuscan blue. I frickin' love the smell of rosemary, so I really wanted some actual bushes of it rather than just like a small herb garden amount.
So, hey baby.
You almost had the puppy snoot.
Did I almost sit on your snoot? And then I chose 3 different kinds of lavender and supplemented all of that with a couple of small lamb's ears plants and some verbena. I'm not at all sure if all of these plants will work well together and in this soil and with this sun, but I can picture them all growing bigger and meshing together so you can't even see the ground underneath, and it's definitely the look that I want. My head always has said that rosemary, lavender, and sage or salvia go together, but I don't actually know where I came up with that information. Fingers crossed. The last task of the day was my strawberry patch. I love this little plant group. All of the ones in the ground sprouted from that single potted plant, just on their own, with no intention from me whatsoever, over the course of the 3 years we've been here. However, I want to supplement them a bit and really fill out this patch. So I got 6 more little guys to add in, and I'm also going to finally move the potted one into the ground. Can you not step on that? We left everything alone for a couple weeks after that massive planting day, kinda cause I just got busy with other stuff, and kinda cause I wasn't sure if I wanted to do more out here right around now. But turns out I did want to do more, cause doing stuff begets doing stuff, y'all. It's a delight. So to round off this backyard overhaul, we got some more shrubs, all different colors of blossoms and low on water needs. And they're gonna go right in this thin strip of dirt that ends with the kiwi vine.
Oh, okay. No, not once you use the pickaxe. We have a wheelbarrow. Oh, we're gonna put something in there.
Yeah, I'll just
Okay.
fill it up a little bit. 2 of these are milkweed, which I learned recently from a Barbara Kingsolver novel, that's hard to say, are the only plant that monarch butterflies lay their eggs on. And I guess other butterflies love them too, because we were seeing some around before we even got them into the ground. The red flowering shrub is called a cigar flower, colloquially, not, according to Latin, and is said to be a favorite of hummingbirds. And then the yellow one at the other end is a euphorbia. Ooh, and we've already seen so many bees on it. I'm really hoping all of these plants not only look lovely and delightful and smell lovely and delightful, but also bring those pollinators in droves. While we were at the nursery, I saw that they had a bunch of giant tomato plants on sale. I guess nobody wanted to buy them. And while I have some seeds to eventually grow tomatoes myself, I couldn't friggin' resist one of these guys. He's so big and fluffy! And of course he already has some tomatoes on there, so maybe I'll get to harvest tomatoes soon. I wanted to wait a few weeks before I wrapped up this video because it's really easy in a gardening video to just show the immediate results, all of the plants fresh from the nursery and they're still blooming and it's like, look how pretty everything is. Yay, success. But like the reality is that some things aren't a success, and I wanted to just like kind of show the real progress after, I think it's been like a full month since we started. I'm definitely pausing right here, even though there's still some more I could do with the yard, but I finally have a better idea of what I'm gonna do with the rest now that I've actually done something. I'm hoping to get some raised beds on the other side, and then we still have a whole like triangle of dirt to fill in around the mandarin and the kumquat trees. But we'll do that later. So what worked and what didn't? Who lived? Who died? Who tells their story? Starting with the trees, they're all doing pretty dang good right now. The mandarin tree has been fine. I trimmed it back. The kumquat tree, after we fertilized it, I thought nothing had happened, but for the first time it actually put out some blooms and has some little green shoots coming out, so I think it's finally reviving. The Meyer lemon tree seems all good. It's been doing new blooms since we planted it. The kiwi vine has been really flourishing of late, which I'm very happy about. I hope that that continues to grow and covers that whole area. And the newer bushes that we put in front of the kiwi vine in that random little space, they all look great so far. They've only been in here for maybe a week or two, but I'm not seeing any problems. I'm looking forward to when they grow in all full and giant and beautiful. Our little rosemary and lavender space, the low water needs garden, is also looking really good. I've barely watered it since we planted everything. The yellowish lavender kind of wilts visibly when it wants some water, and I'll go in and give it a little bit, but we've actually had rain like twice in the last couple months, so that's the only watering I've done, is like a little bit of spotty stuff on the wilty ones. The verbena is blooming and already looks like twice as big as when I planted it. Nothing is dying, so I think that whole area is just good. Over on the other side, those passion vines, this is what I've been most worried about because, you know, I was afraid, of course, that we killed them while transplanting them over. They're still not looking great. There's been a lot of sort of wilting because I think there were still vines in there that we had like snapped while moving them, but not fully snapped off. So I went in yesterday and trimmed some of that off, and also saw that there's a lot of little new shoots coming out. So I think it might have finally rooted and like settled, and maybe we'll start growing from here. I also do have to recognize that in its last position, it was getting daily water on a drip system. And now I'm going out there and watering it like every other day. So just the difference in watering might be a big factor here, and maybe I should just go out and water it daily. The plants in front of that are all looking pretty good. There's like one purple petunia plant that's struggling for some reason. The basil in the ground is looking great. Especially the micro basil, it just looks beautiful. It's flourishing. The foxglove has been doing fine. I put in some stakes to kind of hold up the flowers because we had some really windy days. The delphiniums that I put in pots over there, ooh, y'all, the flowers. Also, like, quick pause. Here is just a slideshow of the photographs that I've been taking of my garden, because photographing flowers and videotaping the birds is apparently my new favorite hobby. I think these delphiniums are just my favorite flower now. I had never seen these before, and they're absolutely stunning. Now, sadly, the wind storm we had did yank the entire stem that had the most blooms on it off. Literally yanked it out of the pot entirely. It landed in the pool. I tried to put it inside in a vase of water to see if it would just like revive and live for a little bit, but ultimately it didn't really look good. And I did turn it upside down and dry those flowers, which is fun. The other delphinium lately has been looking a little parched and crispy, even though it's been getting plenty of water. So I just moved it into a place where it gets more shade than where it was currently, and we'll see if that hopefully helps. Both of those are definitely gonna need to go in the ground at some point, just because they're gorgeous and they're like, you know, full-on shrubs. So I need a place for them. My big pot of mint reached the point of like peak flourishing, and then like 2 days later was starting to look really sparse and not very good. So I went in and just chopped all of it off, but I'm wondering if that was because I wasn't cutting any of it off. I love having mint, but I don't end up using it as much as I'll use like basil or something. So maybe I just need to be cutting it back more often and it got like too full. But if anybody has that experience with mint where it just like from one day to the next starts looking really gross, let me know. Possibly there was some pest in there. The strawberries are all looking good. They're starting to put out little strawberries here and there, so that's always fun. The new tomato plant is just, you know, going at it. It was already big when I got it, so I'm really just watching those 3 tomatoes that were already on it and hoping that they turn into deliciousness. But I am also hoping that it puts out some other tomatoes as well. And finally, this is kind of the one big definite fail. The ranunculus flowers that we planted next to the Meyer lemon tree, they have deceased. It started with just one of them, very randomly, that within a couple days of planting them, this one plant was like, I don't want to live here. And the other 3 seemed fine, and so we were like, oh, that's weird, but I tried giving them a lot of extra water because it is a pretty sunny location. And over the next few weeks, like one by one, they were picked off. And now they are basically all dead. Now, I did learn after buying those, because we just kind of chose them based on, ooh, pretty, that ranunculus are apparently bulbs, which I would not have guessed by looking at them. I'm used to bulbs looking like daffodils and irises and stuff. But it does make me wonder if it's just past their time, because usually bulbs grow in colder-ish weather, like right out of spring when it's still a little chilly, and our weather has been up and down, y'all, like insane. It's pretty chilly in the mornings, and it's even been chilly like fully into the days some days. And then other days it's been like July outside. So I'm wondering if it's just past their time and they're supposed to die kind of thing. But also they might just hate that area. We tried to give them some good soil around, but like maybe it's too sunny, it's not good drainage, I don't know. But like that's not a bad track record, I guess, or like ratio. I'm pretty okay with that. You know, like something is gonna die. And that's not too bad to have lost the ranunculus, but so far everything else is still okay. There's some things that I'm a little worried about and I'm keeping all my eyes on them, but like, it's okay. Our last step for this round of gardening was to kind of even out the soil under the pergola. That's always been sort of sloped downward and really dippy so that when it rains, we get these like mud pools everywhere. So we took all of the extra dirt that we took out of random places, dumped it over there and kind of evened it out. And then because grass struggles to grow there for some reason, and I'm not a huge fan of grass anyway, I got some clover seed and sprinkled that all out there. Just did this yesterday, so we don't have any results of this yet. I've got to keep it moist for the next like week. I'm gonna have to go out there and mist it like 3 times a day to germinate the seeds, but I'm really hoping that the clover will grow over there because it's supposed to grow under much worse conditions. It's not nearly as picky as grass. And I'm hoping that eventually it'll start to spread and kind of take over that entire lawn, because I really love the idea of a clover lawn. And then we got some furniture, some stuff that'll be really easy to spray off and clean because it's gonna get bird poop all over it out there. And now we can sit under our pergola, yay! So the lesson of this video is, I suppose, do whatever you need to do in order to get yourself doing. If that's breaking a project down into a bunch of smaller steps, if it's coming up with a pre-project that's significantly smaller and more approachable, if it's diving right in to the hardest or the most complicated or the most intimidating thing, do whatever you need to do. But take some time and really try to figure out, what do you need to do in order to start doing it? I need some morning coffee to go with this.